There have been 3 million COVID cases in the United States as of last week, folks. The United States hit 1 million new COVID cases on Monday. We did it. We did it. Wait, hold on. We have to celebrate, dude. Listen, there's a lot of cowards out there, and they honestly, they don't appreciate it. I'm siding with COVID, baby. I'm siding with COVID. Woo! If the libtards are in favor of protecting themselves from COVID, guess what, brother? I'm for COVID. I'm siding with COVID. I'm on the winning team, baby. That's the American way. So yeah, that's what's popping off right now in America. That's what's happening in America currently. We hit a million new cases per day. 1 milli, dude. 1 milli. Also, remember, this is a gross undercounts. Testing is so scarce. Yeah, the more remarkable part about this is that, like, there's a million tests readily available, or even more than that, because, like, not everyone that tests is positive for COVID. So we got, like, we actually have more than a million a day. Like, we can use more than a million tests a day. That's surprising. So honestly, that's where we're at. Yeah, that's what's going on. That's what's popping off. That's only the recorded cases. There's even more, maybe up to 2 million infected daily in the US. Listen, brother, if you don't test it, nobody will know. Believe me, slow the testing down. Finally, dude, finally, my man, Donald fucking Trump, the girthy boy, fucking the girth meister, was a visionary. He was literally a visionary. He said what the American people did not want to fucking hear at the time and wasn't ready for, but it was the truth. If you test less, there's less cases. Believe me. And guess what? When the Mac attack does that exact same shit, but because of like sheer incompetence, and there's just not enough tests. So, you know, we got fucking, we only got this amount of tests readily available every single day, then that's the number of cases that we got. Can't you just cough the COVID out of your body? Yeah, dude, if you fucking sneeze extra hard, you just never get COVID. That's how it works. At this point, I feel like everybody's got COVID. Just assume that, like, if you're going outside, you're probably around people that have COVID or are recovering from COVID or are about to get COVID and they don't know it yet because you have COVID and you're about to give it to them. That's where we're at right now. Luckily, Omicron is still mild in comparison to regular COVID. You know, OG COVID was like way worse than Omicron from what I understand. 50% less hospitalizations, 85% less likely to be hospitalized if you're vaccinated and boosted up. And also, if you're not vaccinated, you might have to go to the hospital. Let's be real. Okay, your anti-vaxxer family members, they might still end up at the hospital. But what are you gonna fucking do? Did you get boosted? Oh, I'm boosted the fuck up, baby. I am super boosted. Okay. Not only am I boosted, my pharmacist, while inoculating me, fucking coughed right before it. I mean, she had a fucking tight ass N95 on, but I was still like, okay, I guess like either I'm boosted or now I have COVID. GG's, you know what I mean? I haven't had any symptoms or anything like that. I don't feel bad. I feel fucking great. So death in 2 weeks, I feel, are going to be high. Well, so the problem here is that, of course, deaths are going to be high. Because even if Omicron is more mild, because it spreads like a motherfucker, you're still going to kill a fuckload of people, okay? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, the point is this, folks. If it's hitting 1 million, it's going to kill a lot of fucking people, even if it's not that fucking deadly, okay, in comparison to previous variants. So just be safe. Be fucking safe. But your level of fear should be adjusted to your level of protection. If you are already boosted up and you're fucking vaxxed up, then yes, you might get like, you might get a shitty fucking case of COVID and you might not feel great for a week or 2 weeks. You might get fevers, blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, it's milder in comparison to like feeling like absolute fucking dog shit for a very long time than having it fuck you up, maybe even give you permanent lung damage. So to fully comprehend how bad things can get, imagine half the population coming down with the flu at the same time. They're projecting 20 to 40% absenteeism in essential services. Yeah, I mean, this is why they fucking said, go balls to the fucking wall, boys. Like, we're going buck wild. We're riding the Omicron train, baby, because, you know, we are going to see a gigantic part of the population get this. It's like fucking unavoidable. You know what I mean? It feels completely unavoidable. So many people know someone or multiple people, half their fucking friend groups get COVID at this point. You know what I mean? When I originally criticized the CDC's decision to basically change the quarantine restrictions without any new evidence that other epidemiologists were also upset about outside of the CDC, this was one of my main concerns. Obviously, my primary concern was now COVID is going to spread even fucking harder at a time when Omicron is just ripping through the country. And my second concern was that this would greatly undermine the authority of the CDC, which is why I always got fucking annoyed when people were just trying to state that I was doing conspiracy theories about the CDC. Guess what? I was fucking right. Look at Ben Shabibo. Ben Shapiro, who is, of course, a misinformation agent himself, had this to say. Oh, here it is. Here, this is what I was going to say. So yesterday, Ben Shapiro tweeted this out when the U.S. is considering adding a negative test to its 5-day isolation guidance for people with asymptomatic COVID-19. The White House's top medical advisor says, Dr. Anthony Fauci says, the CDC got significant pushback on its recommendation last week. I was fucking right. Everyone else, once again, that shit on me for fucking negative engagement farming was completely fucking wrong. Suck my dick, everybody else, okay? Obviously, this kind of change in the CDC's rhetoric when their main goal is to set these guidelines and communicate them effectively is that this kind of misinformation will be utilized by people like Ben Shapiro to further cause chaos and to further undermine its credibility. And that's precisely what he's doing here. Amazing how quickly the science changes. Miraculous how fast new data pours in. No wonder only the experts, trademark, can understand it. Probably it's totally apolitical and has nothing to do with the public pressure from the administration's leftist allies. What this moron, what this baboon is admitting / also failing to consider is that, yes, there is a level of public pressure that they are influenced by. It's about who they're getting that pressure from, though. And if this dumbass does not comprehend that, like, the original decision to lower it is pressure from the business owners and those who are titans of commerce, then I don't know what to tell you. That is precisely what is going on here. The original decision, as admitted by Fauci, was to make sure that commerce continues, to make sure that society functions, because there weren't going to be enough pilots. There weren't going to be enough hostesses. There weren't going to be enough waitresses. There weren't going to be enough retail workers during the holiday season. And God forbid that happens in a country like the United States of America. Then, you know, full-blown economic collapse, boys, because of the way that Omicron was spreading, because of how fast Omicron was spreading. And that's the reason why they went fucking balls to the wall and didn't even include a negative test in their original lowering of the quarantine restrictions. So while Ben Shapiro is technically right in the sense that, yes, some of these decisions are made by outside influences, and it's not necessarily, it's more like a balance. It's a delicate balancing act between what the public's perception is going to be, how much they actually follow the restrictions that are placed by the CDC, and also where the stress is coming from. So if the public is not following the protocols, they're like, well, maybe we should lower them so that they will actually follow the protocols, which is idiotic in my opinion, because that's precisely what they said, by the way. This is not my take. This is the CDC's own narrative on this issue. They said they did this because, not because there was new data available, there wasn't, but because, one, the public was not following 5-day or 10-day quarantine measures anyway, because it was far too long for them. So the public stress is there. And also because Omicron was ripping through the fucking lands. And when Omicron is spreading so rapidly, and if you're vaccinated, it has less likelihood of fucking you over. It's less severe, 50% less hospitalizations, at least according to data coming out of the UK, that it's not necessary to quarantine for as long, especially because if you are asymptomatic and vaccinated, the likelihood that you're going to continue spreading it in the aftermath of 5 days is lower. We are at a point where the CDC, in my opinion, fucked up like they did originally, like Fauci did originally about mask wearing, and that this will be used against them by misinformation agents and those who want to fucking further undermine the CDC's credibility beyond what they are doing to themselves. These are uncertain times, but the only certainty is that you're probably going to get fucking COVID if you go outside. You're probably going to get Omicron, but also most likely if you're boosted, if you're vaccinated, if you're double vaxxed, it's not going to be as bad as the prior versions of COVID. The only other certainty similar to that is the top of the hour ad break that comes at the top of the hour. Here is the Florida Surgeon General Joseph Ladapo saying that the state is working to unwind the COVID testing psychology the federal government has prioritized.
We're going to be working to unwind the sort of testing psychology that our federal leadership has managed to, unfortunately, get most of the country in over the last.
Yeah, we don't need to test, dude. It's like the testing psychology is silly. I mean, this is quite literally like If we close our eyes, then COVID can't hurt you. Okay. But instead of like, you know, Ron Death Santa saying it, this is the fucking Surgeon General, dog. Like, this is a doctor saying, fuck it.
Last 2 years. We need to unwind this testing sort of planning and living one's life around testing.
I love when a medical authority is, you know, playing the role of a politician and says shit like this. You know, the testing psychology of the Biden administration mandated at the federal level, that doesn't go with the Florida vibes. Okay, we might be a ginormous state, but guess what? We got vibes here. Okay, and the vibe check is failing right now, ladies and gentlemen. It's failing big time. People are getting tested. We're finding out that they have COVID. That's not good. What's actually a lot better is just not testing at all and, you know, leaving it up to luck.
Without it, we're going to be sort of stuck in the same cycle. So, you know, it's really time for people to be living, to, you know, to make the decisions they want regarding vaccination, to enjoy the fact that many people have natural immunity.
Bro, literally everything he said is psychotic. Like, this is a doctor. This is the Floridian Surgeon General, boys. And he basically said, you know, just live, laugh, love, enjoy your moments. And also, don't stress this whole testing shit, okay? They're testing a little too much. We need to dial that back. And also, you know, now you have natural immunity. That's great. That's a cool thing. Again, I mean, this is my doctor, dog. I'm gonna die. That's just what it is. All right? Look at my doctor. I'm gonna get COVID.
The mayor of Washington just got full control of the National Guard of Washington. Congressman from Texas was calling for FEMA to get involved in all of this stuff. What, I mean, should that make us nervous? Is it paranoid to think, wait a second, what the hell's going on? How do you read those developments?
I would really encourage people to go use Google and go back to the debate right after the 9/11 attack when all of these radical proposals were introduced to increase power.
Bro, this is so fucking gross. Comparing the fucking mass hysteria post 9/11 that led to like people getting fucking murdered because they looked Muslim. Because the first victim of a hate crime post 9/11 was actually a sick person by a white supremacist piece of shit. Comparing that fucking psychosis, that mass psychosis, that like idiotic approach, and the government's disgusting fucking actions in the aftermath of that, especially as like, you know, a anti-surveillance state libertarian like Glenn Greenwald, who's done a lot of work in that field, like recognized and good work in that field, taking that and then making that as a comparison to like post-COVID or COVID lockdown measures is so psychotic, dude. That is so disgusting. This is the greatest example that Glenn Greenwald is a fucking charlatan of the highest magnitude, because he's devaluing all the good fucking work that he did, because there's no fucking shot he believes that like mass surveillance on all Muslims in fucking Dearborn and like the torturing of Muslim Americans in a fucking CIA black site is comparable to a fucking fat piece of shit in Texas being forced to wear a fucking mask when he walks over from the Applebee's hostess table to the fucking table is even in any way remotely fucking comparable, okay? That is psychotic.
Power in the hands of the government, like the Patriot Act. And the argument at the time was, oh, don't worry, these are temporary measures. They're only going to be in place for as long as is necessary to get this crisis, this emergency, under control. 20 years later, the Patriot Act is very much in place. Every 4 years, it's renewed without any opposition. Its uses and application have wildly expanded beyond its original intention. It's almost never used for terrorism. It's used for a whole variety of other means for the government to spy on its citizenry. When you start building these bureaucratic apparatuses that vest power in the hands of the state to control the lives of citizens in the name of some temporary crisis, it never is temporary. It never goes away. There's never a political motive to dismantle it. It will.
This is a classic fucking annoying Reddit debate lord approach too, because then he has an out. He ultimately has an out in the way that he described the situation. He can always say, I wasn't making that exact same comparison, but he's implying it, okay? He's saying that the surveillance apparatus could be used for any kind of issue. He never fully says it's being used for COVID right now in the exact same capacity, but he's heavily implying it on the Tucker Carlson broadcast. And that plays a role in Tucker Carlson's overarching argument that like the government is doing this against white people, they're coming after you, and the government is certainly doing this against anti-vaxxers and they're coming after you. That's precisely what he's playing the role of here.
Will just continue. And even if there's a cure tomorrow for COVID, they'll just transform it into the Office of Infectious Diseases or the...
Why? This is not true. Any moment where we have seen even a slight fucking change, like when the vaccines first came out, every fucking facet of government was excited to unleash the public, okay? They immediately dropped the restrictions. Why did they do that? Because no one wants to be fucking locked up. No one wants to be fucking trapped in their houses. The restrictions were immediately fucking taken off when the vaccines first came out, and then they had to be restored. And for people who are saying that's not true, that's not fucking true, you're delusional. Look at California, dude. I think you guys forgot. Even in a place like California, which is like very liberal and supposedly has some of the worst restrictions or some of the most like strict restrictions, California, you can go to a fucking bar or a restaurant in the state of California and sit the fuck down and eat now normally, okay? You absolutely can, and people do all the time. There was a time and place where you couldn't even go into a restaurant, or there was a time and place where you could only eat outdoors. There was a time and place where you could only, if you were eating indoors, you were inside a plexiglass, okay? All of that's gone. The most rigorous lockdown measure in the state of California is you have to be vaccinated if you go to a bar or a fucking club or a place of business that you frequent, okay? They ask you for your vaccine card. I'm sure people already have like fake vaccine cards and shit. After that, you have a mask on for like for 1 second before you sit down at your table, and then you take it off. And that's not like, is that really the peak of oppression? Like, you sound like a privileged little fucking brat if you consider that to be in any way, shape, or form remotely oppressive. They're soon going to make you have to put a mask over your face after you take a bite while you shoot. No, they're never going to do that. You know why? Because that would be psychotic. That's insane. And that's never going to happen. Okay? That's never going to happen. People just want to minimize the risk as best as they possibly can. And they don't do a good job with it. Because everyone, again, every single human being usually want to be outside. Okay? They want to go and socialize with people. Not everyone's fucking agoraphobic. That's the point.
The administrator of public health, and these powers, once vested, are going to be very difficult to pry out of the hands of government.
Yeah. They call you paranoid, then give you every cause for paranoia. I notice. Glenn Greenwald.
Every time Tucker Carlson laughs, a baby dies. I swear to God. This is great.
Well,
I had COVID for the second time after getting vaxxed, and now I'm pissed at everyone from Anthony Fauci to the communist Chinese government. Am I overreacting? Here's tonight's Kennedy
hello
Watch.
and welcome to a new and fantastic week, as you may already know, because I was ranting about it.
Bro, this is the least swagged out fucking Fox News set, by the way, because it's on Fox Business. Fox News is ugly brother, okay? This is like, this set is so bad, dude. I can't even, oh my God.
On Thursday last, I recently had COVID again. So the virus has once again become intensely personal, and now I'm pissed. Like many of you, I took all the recommended steps and took the necessary precautions, but like a fool, I figured if I had been previously infected and vaccinated, well, I'd be safe. With a normal virus that naturally evolved, that might be the case.
Yo, here's the deal, okay? If you got vaccinated and you got COVID twice and you survived, be thankful you got vaccinated. You want to know why? Because otherwise you would have been fucking owned, dumbass. There's no scientific basis for thinking like it would have been better if you were not vaccinated when you got COVID twice. Like, that's so stupid. It's like, it doesn't make sense, dude. What the fuck is this? Like, you got vaccinated, you got a little boo-boo, okay, for like a day, and then you got COVID and you survived. What the fuck is the problem? Confirmation bias? Are you unironically stating here that there is actually a fucking world in which like getting vaccinated and then getting COVID is actually worse overall? Because you would have to straight up avoid all of the fucking data that shows that the overwhelming majority of hospitalizations and deaths, like, now, I'm not talking 75%. I'm talking 90+% of all deaths from COVID are of unvaccinated people. There is no other data point you need to look at.
If you've had COVID, you know it is extremely unnatural and doesn't feel like anything you've experienced. Even if you had it mild, you know it's still weird. I do not buy this did some less than probable species hopping and conveniently infected the most
Oh, she's saying this is man-made. Never mind. She's just saying like, oh yeah, no, it's like this is actually a man-made virus. That's why it fucking owned me twice.
Vulnerable populations on the planet. In my opinion, it is an engineered virus, and anyone who says a lab leak theory is conspiratorial speculation is full of guano. They all
I like that she's bringing it back. Remember when all the fucking libs were like losing their shit? Remember when all the libs were like also saying it is 100% without a doubt a lab leak? It is 100% without a doubt a lab leak. Like every fucking liberal was like saying it's definitely a lab leak. It's definitely a lab leak. China's responsible. What happened to that, dude? That narrative went away. I'm glad she's bringing it back.
all knew what could happen if an altered virus found its way into the world and their worst dreams had been realized. This virus sucks. And you know what? The communist Chinese government sucks for covering up evidence, destroying samples, blocking access, and jailing whistleblowers who knew the sickly genie was clearly out of the bottle.
Bro, she brought it back. She brought back like January 2020 memes, dude. I respect that. She went back 2 years in time. You gotta respect that, dude. That's cool. That's like, you know, people don't appreciate the classics. When you have a fucking fire meme and then you fired it off out of the gates, okay? You came out of the gates fucking swinging, and then like it didn't have staying power because like it doesn't fucking matter. China could have literally killed every scientist. China could have killed every scientist. We got owned on our own, brother, okay? Because like we didn't do shit once we found out. It's not like China trying to not cause mass hysteria or whatever and then like openly apologizing about the doctor or like trying to suppress the truth from coming out originally. All of that would have changed the reality. You know what I mean? Like there were not, you're just mad that they didn't like full blown fucking taper the shut in the beginning. That's what you're upset about. Except you didn't do shit for like a year and a half after we fucking knew. We knew. We looked at Italy and we're like, this is really bad. Like what's going on in Italy is really bad. And we were just like, nah. Fuck it. We'll be fine. Motherfuckers were literally advocating, straight up saying that like COVID's gonna go away. Elon Musk said that COVID would be done by April, bro.
Health Alliance sucks. Anthony Fauci sucks. Francis Collins suck. They all suck. And they all knew what would happen if a virus like this spread, and even the tests that are supposed to detect it, they suck. And they're almost impossible to access. My daughter tested negative at a clinic on a rapid test. The PCR was positive, but it took 10 days to come back. As a vaccinated person, I contracted COVID from another vaccinated person. So whoever is still chirping this godforsaken bug is being solely transmitted by the unvaccinated is also full of the hottest.
Wait, what? No one is saying it's only the unvaccinated that are fucking spreading COVID. The fact that you can get COVID, okay, take it on the chin, and then do this dumbass broadcast a day later or however many days later is precisely precisely the pinnacle fucking modern medicine achievement of the fast fucking mRNA vaccines, okay? That's it. Like, otherwise you'd be fucking dead, dude. People are saying that. People are saying that, though. Some people do believe that. You mean like unvaccinated people don't spread COVID? No. Vaccinated people can still spread COVID. The likelihood that they get COVID and also spread COVID to as many people as possible is lower. The reason why it's lower is because the symptoms are diminished, okay? So they still have and can and do spread COVID. Everyone can. It just mitigates how much COVID you can spread. It doesn't fucking matter that people are saying shit. People are wrong all the time. How much you spread COVID is greatly dependent on your viral load as well as whether you're pre-symptomatic or you've already gotten COVID and you're in a recovery phase, all this other shit, okay? Getting a vaccine absolutely reduces the viral load, but it doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to fucking deliver a big load to some other unvaccinated people or vaccinated people as well.
Garbage, and they suck too. So what's the bright side here? The Omicron variant is so contagious, everyone will pretty much have it within the next 2 weeks. And once it peaks, we will glimpse something like normal. Tyra Grove Kraus, she is a fancy state epidemiologist in Denmark. She says we will have our normal lives back in 2 months. I will take it. I don't trust the people in power in this country. The arsonists are pretty much running the fire department. So if a rational and skeptical expert says we can resume our rituals by next month, I am on board the Danish Express.
Bro, you got COVID twice. The fuck are you talking about resuming our rituals? She's like simultaneously mad that she got COVID and gave it to other people, while also talking about how like I need someone who's sane to tell me that everything can go back to normal. Yeah, dog, everything. First of all, we're already doing that. Like the arsonists that are running the fire department literally said that. They said, yeah, fuck it, dude. YOLO. Everybody's getting COVID. Fuck it. There's nothing we can do there, okay?
Anthony Fauci can take his fear-mongering, eternal masking and shove it up his puckering honey hole because he'll never unsuck. In the meantime, I'll keep chomping on elderberry gummies and sipping ginger tea until I feel somewhat presentable. And all I ask of this administration is to please put the screws to China and finally hold them accountable for this hideous horror show.
Bro, China about to be like COVID? What? That's a problem? People are going to go up to the Chinese government and be like, hey, you need to be held accountable for your crimes. And China's going to be like, COVID is a thing? What? You guys still have COVID? You fucking idiots, dude. That's crazy. Y'all have COVID? Not us, motherfucker. When like 3 people get COVID in one region, we lock down the entire fucking area and we deal with it. CDC with another stupid ass take. So the CDC isn't recommending taking a test on day 5 after testing positive and maintains you can leave isolation, but wear a mask and avoid restaurants/travel for the next 5 days. But if you happen to take a test on day 5 and you're positive, you should continue isolating. Yo, bro, the CDC has fucking lost the plot, dude. They've just, this is banana. This is another mask moment, okay? This is another don't wear a mask, just kidding, actually definitely wear a mask, please moment from the CDC. I don't give a fuck anymore. To be honest with you, I don't care. Okay. The only prevention that the CDC I care about is the top of the hour ad break. Okay. And the CDC tells you that in order to avoid the top of the hour ad break,